Big sports leads to big business. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jim Reek.
And I'm Paige Travis. Columbia can expect around 180 teams and 2,000 people to come into town this weekend for the Show Me State Games Soccer Fest. Workers were setting up this afternoon for games starting tomorrow. Soccer Fest aims to raise money and awareness for the Show Me State Games. Columbia Visitors Bureau says visitors influence Columbia's economy, and Columbia's tourist reputation is more ways than one.
Amateur sports are a really great economic driver. It is a short time where we have participants, coaches, friends, family all in town. They sleep in our hotels, they eat in our restaurants, they shop in our stores, they buy gas before they go home. So it is a really powerful economic impact in a short amount of time.
The games run from Saturday morning until Sunday evening at Hickman High School with or without snow.
More sports news. The Tiger football team is set for a big SEC showdown against Texas A&M tomorrow night.
KOMU-8's Mahir Bagat joins us live from College Station as the Tigers get ready for a hostile environment.
Welcome to Kyle Field, everyone. Now, Tigers fans, all this construction might look familiar. Just like Mizzou expanded Memorial Stadium, Texas A&M is expanding Kyle Field. But here's the difference. Mizzou spent $45 million. Texas A&M is spending $450 million. This is now the third biggest stadium in the country. It seats more than 106,000 people, but Mizzou is used to this, and they've been here for the past 5 years, and they're ready for another exciting atmosphere at the home of the 12th man.
When you're going around the SEC playing in these huge stadiums filled with 100,000 plus fans, especially for this week, it gives you that adrenaline that maybe you might not have other places, and it gets us ready to play.
Pretty good. You know, it can get really loud or it can be really quiet. So we want it to be really quiet, and honestly, they just have great fans.
Earlier today, we caught up with SEC Network analyst Tim Tebow, and he said that the stadium upgrades for both schools will definitely help in recruiting because these kids just love watching flashy stadiums like this. Reporting live from Texas A&M, Mahir Bagat, KOMU-8 News.
Thanks, Mahir. One of the suspects arrested in the large raid yesterday, in which nearly 36 people were indicted, is someone we've covered at KOMU-8 before. Right now, Malcolm Redmond faces charges including drug trafficking and starting a prostitution business. We went through our own archives and court records and found Malcolm Redmond was involved in dozens of cases. This is a look at 31-year-old Redmond's mugshot from earlier this year when a grand jury indicted him on charges including intent to distribute cocaine. He pleaded not guilty to those charges last month. Back in 2012, Redmond was also charged with assault for an incident before a shooting near the former Boone Tavern. We also found cases involving drug possession and resisting arrest from more than a decade ago.
Another drug bust in Sedalia netted more than 3 pounds of marijuana and thousands of dollars in cash. Police arrested Jason Vbrock after finding the pot and more than $3,000. Police also took Vbrock's car since it might have been used to deliver marijuana. Smith Cotton Junior High School is less than 1,000 feet away from his home.
A possible plastic bag ban in Columbia is still under consideration. The Energy Use, Efficiency, and Conservation Subcommittee met last night. The committee looked at over other ordinances in other communities to help determine the effect it would have on Columbia. The proposal would ban single-use plastic bags and require shoppers to bring their own reusable bags or pay for paper bags at checkout. Members of the committee now have assignments to gather pros and cons of other communities before they meet again Tuesday.
A controversial project receives approval, plus an explosion at a high school leaves employees hurt.
KOMU-8's Michael Lindquist is in the studio with today's First Nation.
Thank you, Paige. A key vote in the House of Representatives today led to the approval of the controversial Keystone Pipeline. The legislation would authorize construction of the pipeline, which would run from Canada all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. The Senate is expected to vote on the measure Tuesday, where it will need 60 votes to pass. If it passes, it will take the decision to approve construction for the pipeline away from the Obama administration. And 2 are injured after an explosion at a California high school. Firefighters received reports of an explosion inside a building on the Vallejo High campus this morning. 2 school district employees were performing maintenance when an apparent natural gas explosion happened. No students were in the building at the time. The school's heating system had recently been repaired, and the 2 injured employees had been testing the equipment at the time of the explosion. A new video has been released showing 3 inmates escaping from an Ohio corrections facility. TJ Lane and 2 other inmates escaped from the Allen Oakwood Correctional Institution in Lima in September. Lane and the other inmates spent months building a ladder used to get on the roof of the administration building at the prison so they could escape. Lane was serving a life sentence for opening fire inside Chardon High School in Cleveland in 2012. And that's your first look around the nation. For a look around the world, let's send it over to Jim.
President Obama's trip to Myanmar wrapped up today at a town hall meeting where he told youngsters they have a chance to change the country. The president told the audience they represented the future. He says the U.S. still has major concerns over some aspects of reform there. During the president's visit, critics expressed concern the country's transition to democracy is backsliding. Protesters who attacked 3 U.S. servicemen in Istanbul received support from a Turkish politician. On Wednesday, about 10 anti-American protesters tormented 3 U.S. sailors from a docked ship. The chairman of Turkey's left-leaning Workers' Party accused the U.S. of causing unrest. He also condemned the U.S. for its airstrikes across the Turkey-Syrian border in Kobani. And a new Ebola treatment unit has opened in Liberia. The U.S. Department of Defense and the Armed Forces of Liberia constructed the 100-bed facility. According to the World Health Organization, there are signs Ebola cases are declining in Western Africa.
Construction on a bike median along College Avenue hit a delay today. Monday, the City of Columbia Public Works Department announced the Bike Boulevard project would be finished by Friday. That didn't happen. Due to this week's harsh weather, the project has been delayed. Some cyclists look forward to the upgrade.
Well, I've been biking all my life. I'm 71 years old, so my bike and I are like one, and the medium is important to me because it's going to be safe. I'm going to be able to cross that intersection and not worry about getting hit.
The project has resulted in lane restrictions on north and southbound parts of College Avenue.
City of Columbia will soon be flying a new flag. The design for the flag, the deadline for it was at 5 o'clock today. Voting for the design starts Tuesday and will run through December 18th. The top 3 to 5 designs with the most votes will be displayed before the City Council for a vote.
I would hope that we have at least one, up in front of City Hall, but any other city buildings, and that's kind of another step once we get to it, when it comes to creating the flags and making them available for the city to display around town, as well as, potential businesses and other people who might want them for their own use.
To see the designs and to cast your vote, you can visit our website, KOMU.com.
The kids taught the adults today at Simonson 9th Grade Center in Jefferson City. Students transformed the school's library into a museum with exhibits about constitutional rights. The presentations featured posters, brochures, and even websites dedicated to each group's topic. Teachers say students reached out to local businesses and school administrators to come to the event. One teacher who helped organize the project says the kids were very enthusiastic about learning about the amendments.
Some of these things that every U.S. citizen takes for granted, these kids really grasp it and take hold of it, and they kind of come up with these great ideas to show why this is really important.
The event is also an introduction into Jefferson City Public Schools' new integrated classes. In this integrated class, students receive a full credit of social studies and English, as well as a half credit of computer applications.
Snow is on the way. Let's send it over to Rosie for a check of the forecast.
Oh, he acts so shocked, but he's been watching all of my forecasts for the last 24 hours. He knows. Snow is on the way. Let's talk about it. Winter weather advisory is in effect for all of mid-Missouri. Starts at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. It goes until midnight tomorrow night. Includes, as you can see, all of mid-Missouri and most of the northern and western portions of the state. To the north and to the west, that's where they're going to see more snow. But for us, our first official accumulating snowfall event of the entire season, it really won't be that bad, I promise. Increasing cloud cover expected later on tonight. Ahead of that system, that's going to move through here pretty quickly on Saturday, finishing off by Sunday and continuing to give us dropping temperatures into the beginning of next week. So much to cover in what's going to happen in your next 8 days in total. We'll give you all the latest details coming up in just a few minutes.
A new kind of vending machine in Arizona.
Plus a new Ebola patient on his way to the U.S.
You're looking live over Roach Report. 5:08 is your time. This is KOMU 8 News, first at 5. Coverage you can count on.
look amazing right now. That looks like a vacation in comparison to what we're going to see tomorrow. I just go ahead and plan on tomorrow to be a bit of a white day.
I can't get my eyes past the 12 on Monday night. I can't see the 40s.
And I was being kind. Some of our models want to predict single digits. That's one we're watching.
Oh,
now.
my goodness.
I'll stick with the 12.
You like the 12? Okay.
All right, Rosie, thanks. It is cold outside. Is it too cold to get a workout in?
Some tips for working out in this freezing weather. That's next.
It may be cold, but if you can handle the temperatures, be sure you are well prepared for the outdoors. William Starks is working on an exercise science degree, although most of his clients work out inside. Some work out outdoors. He says make sure there is no discoloration that could possibly be frostbite. He says drink water. Of course, that's important regardless of the temperature. If you're sick, the cold air in your lungs can make your condition worse, so be careful. And he says wearing too many clothes actually won't protect you from the cold.
That's also another concern. People layer up so much that it causes overheating and restrict your range of motion with certain exercises.
Stark says if it's too cold outside, walk up and down stairs with weights to keep your heart rate up.
In more health news, a doctor working as a surgeon with Ebola patients in Sierra Leone has contracted the virus and is making his way to the United States for treatment. The doctor will be taken to the Nebraska Medical Center in Omaha. Dr. Salia is a citizen of Sierra Leone, but is a permanent resident of the United States. He is expected to arrive in Omaha late Saturday afternoon. The Nebraska Medical Center has successfully treated 2 other Ebola patients. An Arizona State University is getting a new kind of vending machine. This one doesn't have food or drinks, but instead it fills medication prescriptions. The medicine is expected to start dispensing pharmaceuticals within a couple of weeks. It's available for any student or university employee with a prescription from the university's health services. The school's pharmacy closed back in September. Open enrollment for Obamacare kicks off tomorrow. Millions of people will be logging on to healthcare.gov to choose their health insurance coverage plans for 2015. The Obama administration says people will have more choices this year, with 63 more insurers offering plans across 44 states. Officials say the new choices could give people lower cost options.
Yesterday's drug bust in Boone County, we received reaction from our viewers. That's next in today's talk.
Coming up tonight, a troubling new report on, of all things, the management of our nuclear arsenal. A story from the Port of Los Angeles on why Christmas may be trapped offshore for some families this year. And we know the expression, looking for a needle in a haystack, but have you ever seen it done? We have. We'll show it to you tonight on Nightly News.
KOMU reported yesterday nearly 36 people were indicted after an investigation revealed a large-scale drug trafficking and prostitution operation in Boone County. After receiving mixed comments from viewers, we asked you if the crime warranted the attention it received, and this is what we heard. Kim says, I think it went great. They handled it the way it should be, and getting all the drugs off the street and the dealers, way to go. Novi agrees. She says, use the police. That is what they're there for. Glad they busted them. Hope they get a lot more. And Jane says, I think in an operation of this magnitude, you should use every resource available.
Art comes in all shapes and forms. Why an artist is literally searching for a needle in a haystack. Here's what we're following for KOMU-8 News at 6. A renewable energy plan that has many landowners on edge.
Missouri would get 14% of the total wind energy from the project. Several mid-Missouri farmers say the problems, though, outweigh the energy it would provide.
An Italian artist is looking for a needle in a haystack today. The artist will spend 48 hours going through a pile of hay at a gallery in Paris, aiming to find a needle hidden by the gallery president. The president says there is more to the stunt than first meets the eye, as it explored the complex relationship between words and action. This stunt isn't unusual for the artist. He has a history of engaging in odd activities in the name of art.
Does anyone else feel like that would be the most frustrating activity to be tasked with ever? No thanks. I'll pass on the needle in a haystack. Let's talk about your weather for the rest of tonight. Temperatures aren't going to be changing much as compared to where they are right now. Most of us are into the upper 20s. We're going to be hanging out into the middle 20s for a good portion of our evening hours. That cloud cover increasing. And though you may not be willing to see the snow on the right-hand side of the screen, it is going to be a part of our futures. Tomorrow afternoon, we're calling for 2 inches in the city of Columbia when all is said and done by about 9 to 10 o'clock tomorrow night. It is going to be a quick system, guys, less than 12 hours, 1 to 3 inches possible across mid-Missouri. I think for our first true snowfall event, this is about as easy as it could become. Monday, we'll start to see the sunshine again with highs starting to dip back into the upper 20s.
I think it could be beautiful.
We'll see.